Good evening and welcome to the June 10th, 2019 meeting of the Shawnee City Council. I would ask that you please silence your electronic devices at this time. I am Mayor Michelle Dissler. I'll be chairing this meeting. I'll do a roll call at this time. Councilmember Zimmerman?
Present.
Councilmember Neighbor?
Present.
Councilmember Jenkins? Present. Councilmember Kemling? Councilmember Meyer?
Present.
Councilmember Larson-Bonnell? Councilmember Sandifer?
Present.
Councilmember Constance? Present. Thank you. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance. Thank you. Next, I'll explain our procedures for public input. During the meeting, I'll offer the opportunity for public input. If you'd like to speak to the council at any of those times, please come forward to the microphone. I'll ask you to state your name and address for the record, then you may offer your comments. So that members of the audience can hear your comments, I would ask that you speak directly into the microphone. By policy, comments are limited to 5 minutes. No person may speak more than twice to any one agenda item. After you're finished, please sign the form on the podium to ensure we have an accurate record of your name and address. In addition, while we won't do a roll call vote on every vote, I will state council members' names who vote in minority, so our listening audience will have a clear and accurate record of the vote. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Does anyone have an item they would like to remove from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. The next item is mayor's items. First, I would like to take a moment to recognize and thank our friends from our sister city of Pittem, Belgium, who are in town. They gifted the photograph on the easel in the lobby, who were able to help us unveil it Thursday. We've kept them busy since they arrived last week. They spent a day at the K and unfortunately watched the Royals lose to the Boston Red Sox. They've toured our various departments, met many of our employees. They were able to experience old Shawnee days and play a few rounds of roly-boly on Saturday before heading to the Lake of the Ozarks for a little rest. Our partnership with our sister cities is a true testimony to how we embrace our history and build bridges that connect to our past. I know firsthand how long and tiresome these trips can be, and I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you for visiting your second home, and I look forward to our next trip to Pittem. And if you don't mind coming forward and telling everyone your names, and if you would like to say anything, come on up. If you want to introduce yourself and if there's anything you'd like to share.
I'm here, I'm the city manager of City of Pittem. I'm always very pleased to come over and we always have a very warm welcome over here. Thank you all, also the mayor and all the council members. I'm Billy Lackman. I'm a council member of the council line. Welcome. Good start. I'm all good. I'm chief. I'm retired. And it's my 8th time I want from you, and every time I want from that. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item I have on tonight's agenda is near and dear to me. As all of you know, public service is my passion. Fostering future leadership and engaging the next generation in local government is extremely important to me, and tonight I have a very special recognition and announcement. If I can please have Ashlyn Bellmeyer come forward. Ashlyn is a 7th grader from Monticello Trails Middle School. Her video was selected as the winner of the Mayor for a Day contest. 7th grade Shawnee residents were asked to make a 1-minute video on how to get more people engaged in their local government. After receiving the video entries, I formed a small committee consisting of myself, Council President Meyer, Executive Director of Visit Shawnee Kevin Fern, Shawneetown 1929, Staff Member Royal Kruger, also known as the Mayor of Shawneetown, and Administrative Assistant Candy Manchian to grade the students on creativity, clarity, sincerity of thought, understanding of city services, and proper use of grammar. So first we'll watch Ashlyn's video.
Hi, my name is Ashlyn Bellmeyer, and I want to be mayor for the day. I am a 7th grader here at Monticello Trails Middle School. In my opinion, Shawnee is a wonderful place for families and all citizens to settle down. But we need better restaurants and more fun experiences for our children. I think we need better restaurants in Shawnee because whenever I'm thinking what to eat and where to go, I never have a restaurant that pops into my mind.
Then we just have to eat leftovers from home, and nobody likes leftovers. That's why I think we need more high-end restaurants, at least better than McDonald's and Tanner's.
Secondly, I think we need more fun and exciting experiences for kids, just like the library. And to be honest, kids want more than just parks.
We need an indoor pool, a dog park, and a museum to show all of Shawnee's history. We need to show what Shawnee used to be and what it's all about.
In conclusion, in the next 5 years, I think Shawnee should improve their dining areas and have more kid-friendly activities. I'm Ashlyn Bellmeyer, and I want to be your next Shawnee mayor for the day.
You know the problem.
Oh. Yes. Hey.
Good. We've got the solution.
Who's driving this?
The unique.
Okay.
And she will be our mayor next Thursday. All complaints go to
Good job.
She will start off with hosting the mayor's monthly coffee, and then we will spend the whole day together from there. So I'm looking forward to it. Okay, and did Hidden Heroes happen to sneak in? No. Okay. So then that is the end of my mayor's items. So the next item is appointments. We had 3 and 1 was withdrawn. So then we had 2 people for 2 seats, and a council member had requested more time to review the appointment process. So therefore, we are going to table this item until the council has time to review the process. The next item is business from the floor. Is there anyone who has comments on an issue that is not on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Tracy Thomas, 13022 West 76th Terrace in Seven Hills. Ashlyn, can you ride my bike over to my neighborhood and see the detours on Thursday? Or maybe Mayor Disler will drive you because it's crazy. First of all, it has come to my attention, Ellis, that you may have instructed council to not react to comments from the podium. And your dad never did that when I was on the city council. And so it's awkward when we speak and we don't get feedback or answers to our questions.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, actually.
Okay, well, I guess we'll find out when we make statements. If someone makes a statement that's not accurate, someone could kindly correct us or supply the information or react in some way. But to just sit there and kind of have everybody look at their shoes and just kind of wait for the Part E to end is it's rude, and it doesn't engage the people like I know Ashlyn wants to when she's mayor next Thursday.
Well, I can speak to that. So that was a policy of the governing body several years ago. When Jeff Myers was still mayor, that decision was made during one of the council retreats because, especially if it's business from the floor, if it's not an item that's on the agenda, we don't want to have discussion on it because that's not transparent for the residents that aren't here, not knowing that that item was going to be discussed. So if it's not an agenda item, we don't, we can put it on the future as an item of discussion, but that doesn't have anything to do with Ellis. That was a council policy decision.
Well, I understand that. Thanks for explaining that. Okay, next, you're doing it again. You're doing another rigged survey, this time regarding 75th Street improvements. And I invite you to all go on and take that survey because it does not have the famous no tab, none of the above. There are like 4 choices to make of how much do you want to do to 75th Street and how much are you willing to spend on it, but it doesn't say don't do anything. And it never makes clear whether all these improvements are going to include a road diet to put in bike lanes and park benches and greenery, or if you're going to use eminent domain to seize private property to put in these improvements. It's a federally funded, I don't know how much money you're getting from the federal government, but the survey's rigged, just like the one was for the community center, where you kind of know what the city wants you to come up with in the conclusion. So you're going to have problems with that again. Next, the $480,000 free house has got to go. The park department that Neil mentioned the night that of May 21st, when we successfully 72% of the voters said no to the Shawnee Community Center. Now he wants to spend $480,000 on a free house for Shawnee Town 1929. And someone commented, it's a lot cheaper to build a replica. If you'll recall, the all-electric home, the only guy who came out good on that deal was the one who donated it and took a tax write-off. So that place, which is at 135th and Mission, Neil doesn't seem to know where it was. He said it was 135th and Metcalf. It's an eyesore. It's called scary by the neighbors there, and it's a complete waste of money. Okay, on the Planning Commission, can you tell me who withdrew their name?
Well, out of the applicants, there were 3 applicants. I don't know if that individual wants it known that they withdrew. So there were 3 for the Planning Commission. 1 withdrew, which left 2 people for 2 seats.
Okay. Can you tell me, did that person, were they a manager for J.E. Dunn?
No.
Okay. Because I would like to see the council change the guidelines for appointments to the Planning Commission and to the Downtown Partnership. There are certain careers that really should not be appointed. You know, if you're the biggest contractor doing no bid contracts with the city, you shouldn't be on the Planning Commission. That's like the fox guarding the chickens. If you're an appraiser, you shouldn't be on, or if a commercial realtor. Same with the Downtown Partnership. If you're a commercial realtor and have the ability to hand out grants, that's inappropriate. And so, even though the Downtown Partnership makes recommendations, I think the council should have guidelines and scrutiny that certain careers really ought to be scrutinized and maybe is decided that that's not appropriate. Fourth, thank you for the speed reader from the police for the 75th Street debacle that we're going through. This is the first time that a major arterial street has been closed for 4 months both ways. We've seen Shawnee Mission Parkway, one direction was closed. We've had Johnson Drive. Neiman now, or Neiman never, or Neiman whenever is, still navigable. But 4 months of disruption is really out of control. And the sign says, follow the detours, but you go forward and there are no detours. So people are screaming past my house like I'm on the highway to Branson. And for 4 months, I understand that the pipe runs perpendicular to Blackfish Parkway, and so you can't drive in Neal's grass on Blackfish Parkway, but to have a major arterial closed for 4 months. I've never seen that in Shawnee or most major cities. So thank you very much, and I invite Ashlyn to come over and inspect, and maybe you'll have some ideas on what we can do. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other items from anyone not on tonight's agenda? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Dave Williams, excuse me, Dave Williams, 22119 West 70th Street, Shawnee, Kansas. First off, I wanted to ask everybody that's available. We just kicked off a new no school, no lunches as with harvesters. If you shop with Price Shopper, please donate $1 or $2 for every $1 that you donate. It gives around 3 meals per dollar. So I appreciate your help there. And again, with kids out of school, they don't have lunchtime. Again, a lot of them, 1 out of 6 kids do not have a meal during the day. First, I wanted to thank the council and the city for some great music this weekend. Thursday and Friday just brought back some great memories of me dating my wife back in North Dakota, and the music was just awesome. So again, my hats are off to you. You just did a great job. Secondly, I wanted to thank Mickey Sanford, my ward council person, for his 16 years service. Even though we have not seen eye to eye on a lot of things, or a few things, I still think he was very helpful in Madison Heights Homes Association throughout the years. Again, thanks, Mickey. I started attending city council meetings about 5 years ago when I retired full-time from full-time employment. Just to learn that I might be able to move along the Monticello Road project. I've met some great city employees along the way. I still believe it would be a benefit to start early, the construction early, but I fully understand the budget. I grew up with budgets, managed a lot of budgets, completely understand it. But I'm still looking forward to in 2021 that dirt starts to move on the Monticello Roads project. Besides, it's currently a safety issue to me. I think it's a death trap, and I think everybody that I've met throughout the city understands that from me. Looking along the pathway of that road, developments would be just beneficial to the city, more tax base and everything else. That being said, I was shocked to see the community center project start building up steam like a high-speed train coming out of a dense fog. I felt like it was going to be jammed down our throats come hell or high water. As I was told my representatives, who I love dearly, I don't even remember, while I was the president of the Homes Association, Madison Heights, as well as being a board meeting since 2005, ever hearing about a community center or any of my residents asking for one. So again, I do have some history in that background. I wanted to state a couple of quotes from today's, I received this in the mail today, the summer edition. First, it basically said, in one area which I really truly believe in, the elected leaders in our community have a major impact on your everyday life. That means you guys. They are people who can and should listen to your thoughts and ideas, and then put action into, put them into action. Secondly, the second quote that I wanted to mention. So, what happens now? City staff will start researching any possibility of future use of the land on 61st and Woodman. Big blue letter box in here. Plan B, 72 to 28%. It was voted down. Hopefully, this is not going to upset you, but in the corporate world where I came from, there would be a deep dive or a post-mortem on this issue and why the proposal lost and why it lost for so much. I would think that some of you on the council should be embarrassed and or angry over the results from this mail-in ballot and would want to know why it was defeated so badly. I had a good idea that the community center would not win, but not as much as the large margin that we saw. As most of you know, I was the treasurer of the Vote No campaign. I can tell you, I was kind of forced into that position by you guys coming out with this plan. I don't like to get active in things like this, but I did get inactive. I saw so many flaws in the proposal way back from the two public presentations last fall that I was unable to attend. I just looked at the data that you supplied. There were so many flaws in it that you could read it that it was doomed. I am sorry, but I'm sorry, but I just think the council and city management did not do their homework.
We're right at 5 minutes.
What's that?
We're right at 5 minutes. Are you wrapping up, or do you need a motion to continue, or?
I'd like a motion to continue because I have a little bit more.
Motion to extend the speaker's time by 5 minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
No.
Motion passes with Councilmember Neighbor and Sandifer voting in dissent.
Thank you. A couple of weeks ago, I attended the mayor's quarterly question and answer period at the Monticello Library. Question came up from a planning commission person that was there. Question was, I'll bring up the elephant in the room. What is the plan B for the community center? The answer was there was no plan. That statement made me start thinking, what should the plan B be? Was the city sold a bill of goods? The loss should have embarrassed the city council and the management. This is a waste of time, heartache, and money. Wasting $750,000 to $1 million, the way I calculate it, is an embarrassment and not something the taxpayers can afford to see repeated. I would think that at least 6 of you on the council would like to have the answers why this went wrong. The problem, how many dollars or how many potholes would have that money have fixed? I know it would have really helped the Monticello Road project. My personal and professional thoughts are that we need some changes. Before the city staff starts doing any research on what to do with the property, the whole process from start to finish should have taken a quality examination. Who proposed such a flawed project? Was the survey data flawed? With less than 600 responding in the survey, should have the city moved forward? Does the city need a different survey company? What did the data come from, or where did the data come from? And this was the project, or where was the data coming from that this was a project the voters would approve? Does there need to be a change in the process? Does there need to be a change in management? These questions and many more need to be answered. My suggestion, since the city has already approved a contract with Heller & Heller and Strategic Management Resources, which surprisingly, it looks like they are one and the same. I work to work with the Parks and Recs master plan and the city's strategic plan, you might want to start with having them do a study to find out where this, what went wrong with the flawed community center proposal. I also saw the $480,000 expenditure for a house for old Shawnee towns that has no relevance to Shawnee. I think it should be tabled. I also think that was mentioned in the budget hearing that in 2025, your pipes and parks tax is going to be renewed, or it's going to be asked to be renewed. I asked for the parks to be dropped from there and use that money just exclusively for pipes. The spending, I believe, from the parks system is out of control. With that, one of the books that I would highly recommend you look at and read, that was mandatory read while I was in corporate America, was Good to Great, Why Some Companies Make a Leap. After we read that book, okay, each one of us had to re-interview for our jobs. One of the sayings that lives with me today, and it works with anything that I do, is that it is better to, and this was the strategy of the company I worked for at the time, and senior management was driven by this, was it is better to get first the right people on the bus, the wrong people off the bus, and the right people in the right seats, and then figure out where you're driving. Thank you very much for my thoughts.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who has comments on an issue that is not on tonight's agenda? Seeing none. Next item on the agenda is public items. Item number 1 is to consider resolution number 1879 expressing the city's intent to issue federally taxable private activity revenue bonds in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $30 million for the Shawnee Logistics Center LLC project. Shawnee Logistics Center LLC plans to renovate the building at 23501 West 84th Street, sublet a portion to United States Department of Veterans Affairs to be used as a consolidated mail outpatient pharmacy. Resolution is required declaring the intent of the city to issue the bonds and to allow for a sales tax exemption for the project. Recommended action is consider adopting resolution number 1879. Is there any discussion from the council? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? I'll accept a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is from the Planning Commission meeting of May 20th, 2019. Item number 1 is to consider ordinance number 3281Z041905, rezoning from agricultural to planned industrial for the Project Homeland office warehouse development in the 24,300 to 24,500 block of West 43rd Street. The developer has requested we table this item to the June 24th, 2019 City Council meeting. I will accept a motion.
Move to table. Second.
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is staff items. Item number 1 is to consider bids and award contract number 2019-047 for the Johnson Drive and Widmer Street area storm drainage improvements project number 3460. This project is on the capital improvement plan. On May 31st, 2019, 5 bids were received. Staff recommends awarding the contract, including alternate 1 and 2, to V.F. Anderson Builders, LLC, for a total of $1,296,624. Recommended actions consider approving and authorizing the mayor to sign the contract. Is there any discussion from the council? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? I'll accept a motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is miscellaneous items. Item number 1 is to ratify the semi-monthly claim for June 10th, 2019 in the amount of $2,740,419.96. Is there any discussion from the council? Anyone from the audience like to comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made, seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item number 2 is miscellaneous council items. Before I open it up to council members, I wanted to take a moment to say a huge thank you to Maureen Rogers. She's retiring on June 17th, so this is her last meeting. Thank you, Maureen, for all that you've done for the city, for your leadership in the finance department. We hope you enjoy your retirement and you will be missed. I have always appreciated and respected that I could trust you and when it came to these kind of things, so you're going to truly be missed. And I want to thank everyone, especially I know Mr. Sandifer does a lot of work with the old Shawnee days and staff and the volunteers. I know the community support team, the Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association, and other volunteers were out there, and we just appreciate your time so much. And can't thank you enough for a wonderful event that we hear so highly of. So,
Yes.
Mr. Sandifer.
Number one, Old Shawnee Days is an event of Old Shawnee Days Society. It is not an event that the city puts on. It's an event that the city assists us in putting on a separate committee. We couldn't do it without the city's assistance. This has been just a fabulous year. You know, Monday we were looking at possibly 4 days of rain, and we were kind of worried about it. We get sponsorship, and we get the event is paid for prior to it opening, and we have just an exceptional crew of people, and you know everybody's that little cog that makes the big wheel, and we just at the end of Sunday night, we look out, park's empty again, and we're getting ready to plan for the next one, and it's just incredible, and we love seeing the happy faces. As of some of the answers, or on some of the questions that were brought up just a little while ago, the parks money that we have can only be spent in parks, only be spent for parks items. The house that has been talked about is a very exceptional house, and if you were tried to equip it with what is in it for the time period era of what we're trying to make Old Shawnee Town, and that is a museum. And you can't make it a museum until you get all your little items put together. In this house, you would have a tremendous amount of money, a lot more than what there is right there. Trying to put it together with all of the items, you know, with everything. We have a lot of people that always know so much more than we have professional staff that helps us out and to make a lot of good decisions. You know, we have people that try to micromanage. We have people that try to run everything. But we hired the best that we could get to give us the best ideas we have. We're trying to make a destination place of Old Shawnee Town 1929 so we could bring more tourism into our city to generate more money. You know, sometimes people have to look further into the future and have a vision. You've got to get out there and work with it. It ought to tell by when you get 130, 150,000 people that will come through a town. You know, that ought to tell what we're doing. You know, we're putting together something people want to come see. You know, that's what a community is about. You know, a community isn't about cutting everything to the bone. And let people, if they want to do something, let them go do it on their own. Because a lot of people can't afford it. I mean, I have a lot of appreciation for you, David, but you're a poster child for every organization that you're in. And you are. You know, you talk about the poor kids and all the poor people that you want to feed, but you don't want to help them with a pool that they can go, you know, you talk about the senior citizens in a report. You want to know why it lost? The reason we spent the money was we put surveys out that everybody seems to think are wrong, but we sent surveys out for years to get answers back that say, yes, we would like this. You have several items, and they would vote on the one to the top, and it was an indoor community center. And a lot of that came from the elderly people because they can't sit out in the sun and the heat. Our plan when I was on the Parks Board 21 years ago was all we had was a little pool in the middle. And it was always tied up with teenagers. So we wanted to separate that and make a splash cove for the smaller kids. We did that. At the same time, we were talking about possibly another unit out in the further end that would be a closed-end unit. You know, this wasn't something that just came out of the blue. This is something that's been looked at. Then we sent out surveys. You know, you don't want to see more money spent again. The reason the money was spent was we had surveys that said, with a number of people, and the last survey said that they would raise sales tax. So the money, that's when you determine, okay, fine, let's do this. We didn't know if it was going to pass or not. We did not have an organized yes group. We didn't have that. You had an organized no group that was putting out the wrong, false information. When you're telling senior citizens, that it's going to cost them $880 for them to come in and be a member of a pool, when they have silver sneakers just like you have, it doesn't cost them a dime. You know, so if you're going to do this, put out the correct information and look, show them both sides. Don't scare the hell out of them. You know, if their taxes are going to go up $40, don't tell them $400. You know, you got to be honest and fair about some of this. This is ridiculous. You know, you want to know, you're up here gloating. You want to come up, you want us to come up with the answers to tell you why we lost. We lost because there was an organized group of no people out scaring the hell out of people. That's how we lost. And Tracy Thomas can sit back there and shake her head, and you can come up here and talk all you want. I beat you 15 years ago in a majority that was so, with the numbers that were so crazy because people didn't want to hear you. So that's my
Does anyone on the
thought for the
council
night.
have any items they would like to discuss? Seeing none, item number 3 is to conduct an executive session. I'll accept a motion. Well,
It's over.
Yeah, we don't allow public comment on the council items. Yeah, we don't. There's no more public comment. Item number 3 is to conduct an executive session. I'll accept a motion to recess to executive session for 1 hour to receive attorney-client privilege communications related to pending litigation in accordance with K.S.A. 754319B2 and other legal matters for the purpose of protecting the confidentiality of those communications. At the conclusion of the executive session, the meeting will reconvene in the city council chambers. Do I have a motion?
Move to recess. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded on this item.
Aye.
Oh,
Sorry.
do we have a motion in a second? Oh, okay, sorry, I missed that. That happened fast.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
all in
sorry.
favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Okay, the next action is conclude the executive session. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made, seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next action is to reconvene the meeting.
Who'd reconvene?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. If there are no other items, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. We are adjourned.